Hello, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Time to join the bandwagon and hop onto the Legends tournament, especially because obviously the Carlsen Giri pairing is so juicy after this total brain dead Twitter war that has been raging now for at least a week or two. I think it would be well worth an entire separate YouTube video just to talk about that. To be honest with you, I'm not really up for drama. Two, I'm still a little bit sitting on the fence in terms of whether I want to believe that it's real or it's totally staged. Because if it's real, it's just too brain dead for me. Like, it's very, very subpar, in my opinion, in terms of cool banter. Yeah, it just smells a little bit to me. Or if really this is what it is, then yeah, I'm disappointed. But either way, I don't want to take a stance on it. However, the game, boy, Carlsen delivers. But then again, I just made a video not long ago about a Carlsen Giri match where I praised Giri for his approach to the game and how he plays very uncompromising chess. And boy, he didn't let us down again by any means. Let's have a look into this fabulous game and what really happened here. So it started off with a stock standard Ragozine, and then after h6, usually top grandmaster games either go with this check or take check or take and then e3. These are the main variations. And then Carlsen casually drops the bishop back to d2. A very odd looking move indeed, and not one that is particularly popular on top level chess. And then he chucks in the g4. Now baby, that is definitely displaying some real desire to go for instant warfare, for the want of a better word. Now for the record, I would like to tell you that this is by no means a revolutionary idea of such structures. In fact, it's by no means a revolutionary idea even within Carlsen's own practice. I'm just going through now and collecting material for a different course altogether, and I have found the Carlsen game. No, he didn't play knight c3. Sorry, let me do this again. Where he did the following shebang: e3, knight f6, a3, knight c6, takes. We are following here Carlsen. Who did he play this against? Let me check again. I'm so forgetful. Carlsen Helge Olafsson, Icelandic grandmaster, and the game went bishop b2, castles, knight d2, a5, b5, knight back, and tada, g4. That's Carlsen for you from 2018. And of course, we do know that this g4 thrust used to be a path variation for Shirov. I think he was a very keen player of this g4 in the Meran main line. So it does pop up in a lot of variations, this very unusual g4 lunge and then trying to disrupt the normal course of events in the game. Now almost in every single line that I showed you, including the game here, this g4 does not really rate as the best possible moves. Its merit lies in the fact that it really sends a message that I'm coming for you, baby, I want to mate you. And that's already psychological warfare, if there wasn't already enough of that on Twitter as it is. And just in general, it gives a very unique character to the position that makes it really fun to play and a lot of fun to watch for sure. Now, once again, credit to Giri. I really like the way he plays it. Takes c3, jumps into e4, thus preempting g5, coming with an awkward tempo when files would have to be opened up. And it really keeps his options open. Queen c2, logical, he wants to castle queenside. And Giri, once again, computer prefers he b6 or knight d7. Both of them are very logical moves. Obviously, b6 wants to occupy the long diagonal and create some pain there, whereas knight d7 is just developing, preparing for c5, doing the whole shebang. Now, Giri goes, I have seen your course on Chessable. That was an advertisement. I know how to attack the center and fight for the center, so that's what I do. Loving it. And look at that. Takes b6. He goes, not only do I go for your center like mad, but I'm going to turn it into a gambit. So he's immediately fighting fire with fire. Loving it. Absolutely fabulous chess. And again, this is a very common motif from similar variations of the Nimzo and even the Trompovsky sometimes, where if queen takes with a tempo, and already f2 is bleeding out a little bit, so e3 needs to be played, and after either bishop b7 and knight c6, the initiative instantly shifts from white to black. And then again, is not only a good thing in itself, but also a psychological warfare motif again, that from I'm gonna checkmate the heck out of you, we go to wow, you are really having a go at me. So this is also an important aspect, and I think partly that was the reason why good old Magnus went like, no, I'm gonna mate you, sir. It's not gonna happen in my house, and chucks the pawn in. Awesome chess, loving it. Giri takes, and here actually things are getting a little bit dicey. According to the engine, knight takes c3 was best, but I really like g4 again. I can't praise Giri enough for his human chess. This is not a good move, but it's a very human move. You don't want to open up files here. It's just not natural. That being said, knight takes, queen takes, and then g4 perhaps would have been even better. Or if b takes back, the same story applies with g4 and then f5. Anyhow, so it goes g4, knight g5. Now obviously we can't take the bishop anymore because there is a tiny checkmate on h7. So f5 is forced. And bishop g2 is played by the world champion. A mistake, if you will, because c takes d5 or even castles instantly would have turned on more heat. And this is, I think, the point where Giri is going to go wrong soon, and it's quite instructive to see his mistake. He takes c5, which is kind of okay, but after castles, he just collapses in a matter of seconds. And whilst, again, I don't want to tell you guys and Giri how he should be playing chess, because he's a 2700 god, and I'm an IM staring at the evaluation of the computer, but still, to translate this to our language, I think it makes a lot of sense to talk about this position, not in the level of the gods, but where I am and the way how I see and perceive this position. So if I'm black here, my thinking would be that my only asset in this position is the knight on e4. It blocks this diagonal, it blocks this diagonal. It is just the ultimate meeting point of so many pieces. I really want to keep it there. At the same time, I'm really falling behind in development. This needs to be adjusted. And so here is where he actually collapses by giving up that knight, and thus creating a situation where he has no development to speak of whatsoever against a raging white army. And so the correction of that would have been this fabulous counter-strike, again, fighting fire with fire, returning some material for the sake of evening the battlefield. Look at this. Takes, takes, knight takes, note the pin, pawn takes, bishop takes. And I think this is the position that Giri had calculated and went like, no way on earth am I entering this. And again, I'm not blaming him for it, because seeing this position from here and calculating and looking at that, it looks to me as a human absolute dead lost. The reason why it's not so is because after take, bishop e4, we have knight d4. Again, a beautiful move, chucking in another knight to sort of block off diagonals and files and disrupt white's attack to some degree, and sort of buy some time, so that after bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, we grab bishop e6, another tempo. So bishop e6 defends the pawn and creates rook c8 as a very dangerous threat. And lo and behold, black has got kingside threats. And because of the constant trade that's been happening, basically white's attack has fizzled out. And after king b1, rook takes f2, the chances are dead even. And that was Giri's chance. And I don't think he would have lost the game after this. If anything, I preferred here to be black, really. But that was not to happen, and boy, the punishment was severe. So instead, he took g5, he check, and after king b1, there was nothing left but to scratch his head and go like, uh-oh, we are dead. And that's it. That's it. Unfortunately, or rather, very fortunately, chess principles, center, development, king safety, can't be denied even on this level. And although Giri does enjoy a temporary central domination, but the developed pieces are going to destroy the center, and behind that, the undeveloped black army. Look at that. Diagonals, files are opening, and as a result of that, the king is feeling a little bit insecure as well. Giri correctly sacrifices the exchange. The problem is, as very often when we are playing an utterly hopeless position, then even the gesture of trying to give back material to ease the pain and lessen the initiative doesn't quite achieve that effect, because white still has a very powerful attack here in case black avoids the queen trade, which he did do indeed once again, wanting to fight on. Kudos to you, Anish. And here something utterly unexplainable and shocking happened. I don't know, I didn't check the time control, I didn't really see anything, but I didn't even read articles, in fact, or commentaries, so probably guys, you will feel me out on this, but here Carlsen misses mate in 4. Absolutely unheard of. I really don't know how much time he had, but that was a major blemish on this game, and a huge pity, because this would have really crowned this kingside attack. King takes check, he check, and no matter where the king goes, it's the queen goes its mate next on g8, and likewise if I block the check, and mate here. So yeah, it's a real pity that Carlsen missed this. I really don't understand what happened there, because it's not a Carlsen-esque mistake to make. He played queen e5, good enough to win, but somehow we feel a little bit like we got let down here with this blunder. Obviously he does win the game without any dramas, the rest needs no commentary, but yeah, very interesting game there for you. I really like the fighting spirit once again for both. So a lot of people looked at it and went like, yeah, Carlsen smashed Giri again. Not in my book. Not in my book. I think it was a very awesomely contested game. Carlsen definitely did express his desire to play a very aggressive, very powerful and dominant chess, or rather that was his intention, and from get-go he played in that spirit. But boy, Anish went back and fought back in the exact same style, and once again, had he found he knight c6, we would be telling an altogether different story. And although this video is primarily dedicated to the current battle, both verbal and chess, I also would like to mention another game that caught my fancy, and that was the return of one of the older generations, if I may say so, Boris Galfand, an absolute legend, a chess hero of the past 3 decades at least. And he absolutely wiped the floor with Ding Liren, beating him 3-1 and almost double his age. And one of the games he actually defeated the Chinese GM in 13 moves. But again, we need to tell the full story to appreciate this game in its entirety. I really like this sneaky queen c7. I used to play this e6 line myself, and then I gave up on it because of the too much play I thought white had in some of these structures. This is a really clever way to wanting to go back to e5. And I'm a little bit surprised that white didn't play here e5, allowing black to return to this structure, where after d6, black has easy f5 counterplay and white doesn't. Rajabov used to score absolutely amazing victories in this setup as black once he got to this setup. And here, Ding immediately trying to contest this by expressing his desire to play a very quick f4, which unfortunately for him doesn't work. So he goes f4, white takes f4, sorry, black takes it, which is the correct choice. He castles, and here Galfand, who obviously didn't go through my chess principles reloaded center course, but maybe he doesn't really need to, needed to grab the center. No doubt. In my book, the very best move opens up the bishop's diagonal, just in general makes the position look very healthy, and then still floating the idea of g5 if need be. Instead, he goes h6 triple question marks, and actually this is a mistake that basically loses the game by force for black. Look at this. And again, the mistake, I mean, I don't understand at what point did Ding Liren didn't realize how winning he was, because I'm 100% certain that he did see knight c4 here. And perhaps he gave up on this idea after g5, thinking that, okay, f4 just got defended with a tempo, this is not playable, and d5 is going to kick me out next. This must have been, but again, I haven't read interviews or analysis or anything, but actually knight c4, g5, e5, and black can safely call it a day here. It's unplayable because knight d6 check is incoming. So after takes, check, takes, king here. White is so winning, I don't even want to take this. Instead, I should play queen h5, creating a mate in 2 threat, adding insult to injury. This is, yeah, throwing the towels, bro. So he needs to move a horse somewhere anyway, but like knight d5, knight f5 with a subsequent knight d6 check is just mopping up. Like, it's totally untenable on this level. And Ding Liren just entirely missed it. And once again, it would have been so easy for Carlsen to avoid this mess by playing center. Wink, wink. And look at that, h6, g5, and yeah, and then instead Ding Liren goes b3, and after g5, bishop b2. Although he still had a few chances here, again related to this fabulous piece sacrifice. I love this. Look at this, takes. And bishop e5 this time is the winner chicken dinner story. The queen is really hard pressed for finding squares. d8 is my favorite when it's mate. Queen b7 obviously loses the queen, and so d6 is forced. And after knight takes, king here, knight takes. Oh my word, look at that king. Not a happy camper. Again, white is totally dominating the board and winning. Unfortunately for Ding, he went knight f5, and now came center. And with that, Carlsen just mopped up, took f5, plucked the knight on e3, defended it, and went like on your bike. So yeah, kudos to the old man, but an incredible blunderfest, really. And again, it's super easy to judge them sitting behind Stockfish, and so I'm not casting any judgment, very far from me. I'm rather just coming from the educational point of view that good old principles and rules apply to 2700 just as much as 1700. And I really love this knight c4 idea with bishop f4 and check, or even e5 and then check. So these were the events of yesterday. 2 really interesting games, and there were many more. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth checking out Ivanchuk-Leko, where Ivanchuk took down Leko in a King's Gambit, which again, of course, a lot of people will feel very romantic about reviving these romantic openings. But for the record, I would like to state that Leko was way better out of the opening until about move 30. But then again, you know, it's rapid chess, and obviously the games are very topsy-turvy, like every single one of them, including even the first one, the Carlsen Giri one. And so it is awesome entertainment, and I hope you guys liked my very little and quick recap on it. I will be back with more soon. Thanks for watching.